Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. In today's video, we are going to talk about business structure. I'm not going to tell you what business structure to be. I'm going to talk about why I am what I am. I'm going to talk about some of the reasons you may want to be one or another. I think it's something a lot of people in the space get wrong. They assume certain things, they dive down certain paths, and at times it's not the most optimal beneficial thing for them. So yeah, let's just talk about some of that. Quick overview as I do. It's not going to be a crazy long video, but we'll see how long it ends up. Timestamps down below. Pokenomics Patreon teaser. I did a more in-depth, lengthy presentation, about an hour long, recently in the Patreon. If you want to join that, link's always in the description. But I'll give you an overview of the deeper topics we went in, and if you want to go find them there, you can do that. If not, that's perfectly fine too. Is an LLC for me. Upcoming videos. I always kind of talk about what's on the horizon, what's coming soon. But yeah, is an LLC for me as like the main meat and potatoes of this presentation, this video today. The teaser. I know it's a lot. I did an hour-long video in Patreon recently. Tax advice, 3-tip recap. I'm going to very briefly just gloss over these in the actual video in the Patreon presentation. I turned each one of these bullet points into 5 to 10 minutes, and then the whole presentation ended up being about an hour long. Tax advice, 3-tip recap. I will link a video up above in the corner right now. Pay them, separate your accounts for simplicity and liability, consult professionals, is an LLC for me. So this video right here is kind of expanding on that one bullet point. I'm kind of giving you that one bullet point, and then if you want to find the rest, that video is there. Sole proprietor versus LLC versus S corporation, what is and isn't needed. Talk about piercing the corporate veil, something a lot of people do without realizing it. Benefits of being above board, going back to point one, paying your taxes, writing off everything, getting all your ordinary and necessary expenses covered, business use of home, subsidizing your current situation, earned income tax credit, all other things like that, cash versus accrual, what you might be getting wrong, TurboTax walkthrough. I actually did give like an actual example. I showed on the form 1040 on the Schedule C. I kind of did a little walkthrough presentation. So if you want that, it's there. If you don't want that, you could have time traveled right to here. So this is today's video. Is an LLC for me. Sole proprietor versus LLC versus S corporation. This video, as always, is not me telling you one is optimal. Like, everyone's personal finances are very personal. Everyone, all the things that I always say, all the Danisms, we're in the same arena. We're playing very different games. Some people, the answer is sole prop. Some people, the answer is LLC. Some people, the answer is S Corp. Me, after interfacing with my accountants, after interfacing with some tax attorneys, my optimal answer is S corporation. Nobody is doing exactly what I'm doing in this space. So just because it's right for me doesn't mean it's right for thee. Always consult competent professionals. Always do the good things like that. And is an LLC for me. So I'm not going to entirely talk through sole prop. I'm not going to entirely talk through S Corp. We're going to hone in on LLC. Anecdotally, the most common business structure that I've heard of people doing when they're doing it very wrong, it's always an LLC. People, oh, hey, I'm going to start selling Pokemon cards on eBay. Maybe I'm even going to hire an employee. I'm going to do all the things. I'm going to be a business. And the way to do that is an LLC, right? That's written in a limited liability company. I like the sound of less liability. I want to be a company. And it's just not it's not needed for what most people think it's needed for. So I'm not going to call out names. There would be dozens of them if I did. But hey, why did you decide on an LLC? Why did you not pick sole prop? Why did you not pick S Corp? So this is kind of like debunking why people think they need an LLC. And number one that I hear is I want to limit my liability. It's right in the name, limited liability company. If you're a sole proprietor, you have more liability. If you're an LLC, you have less liability. So that's better, right? The main thing that people get wrong here, I've made a video on it before, the things you need to do to operate a business properly. And anecdotally, so many people get it wrong. So you form the LLC, great, but your name is John Doe, and you start your company, Pokemon Enterprises Worldwide, and you sell Pokemon cards through there. But when you do that, you have a credit card in your name, John Doe. You have a bank account in your name, John Doe. You're listening to Dan. You at least only use that bank account for Pokemon. You at least only use that credit card for Pokemon. So you're not buying your groceries, you're not buying like random things on that. You're only buying your PSA grading, and you're paying your eBay shipping, and you're buying your supplies, and you're buying the computer you use to do all this, and that's great. But when you're using a personal account, when you're using a personal bank account, a personal credit card account, you're doing something that's called piercing the veil. When you pierce the veil around your limited liability company, you are not acting as a company. Using personal accounts makes you not act as a company. And what happens is, in the event of liability, in the event of someone seeking you for legal damages, which in this space is quite rare, maybe you get a nasty paper cut on the Ninetales card that you sold somebody. This card, they open it in the mail, they bought it from you, they get a really nasty paper cut, and then they sue you for damages. Liability can come up, things can come up. I'm being a little bit facetious here, but it's not like running a mechanic shop. It's not like selling food to the general public, food poisoning, damaging the engine of a car, screwing something around with the brakes accidentally. A lot of other businesses have a lot more liability than in this space. And yeah, I'm going all around here, as I do, ranting all around. But the main key is to not pierce the corporate veil, to allow that separate entity to be a separate entity. I don't have my wallet in my pocket, but if I did, you pull out my Catch 'em All Collectibles Incorporated business card. It says Catch 'em All Collectibles Incorporated on it, and then it says my name on it. Ideally, that's the way that you go. You should not have a card that just has your name on it. When I used to work for my former company as a chemical engineer, it said the name of the company on it, and then it said my personal name. If you only have your personal name on it, that is a personal credit card. It's fine, like it works, but it pierces the corporate veil. That is one of many actions. The two most common actions that I know of people doing that pierces the corporate veil, that at least I've seen anecdotally, are using personal bank and credit card accounts instead of using business ones. So if you say, Dan, I created an LLC to limit my liability, and I say, hey, is your credit card in your name or in the business's name? It's in my name. That's entirely defunct. That's not happening. You're not doing what you're thinking you're doing. The point of this channel is to try and help people achieve the goals that they're setting for themselves. If you set the goal of achieving limited liability, you cannot pierce the corporate veil. There's more ways to do it than the two that I listed. Maybe do a quick Google, but there's the two that I'll cover. I've heard other people say, I created an LLC to get my EIN. I tried calling up GTS, Mad Al, Southern, Peach State, Alliance. I tried calling up these distributors, and they wanted me to fill out a form where I needed an EIN. I don't know what that is. I don't have one. Go to the IRS website. You can get an EIN as a sole proprietor. So if I ask you a question, John Doe, why are you an LLC? I needed one to get my EIN. That is flat wrong. Go to the IRS website. I verified. You can get an EIN as a sole proprietor. A lot of sole proprietors will default to just using their, so it's called a TIN, a tax identification number. EIN is employer identification number. If you are a sole proprietor, oftentimes you will just use your SSN as your TIN, but sometimes you can get a separate EIN anyways as a sole proprietor. Verify all these things with your professionals, verify all these things with your accountants on the IRS website. It's all there. But yeah, if you tell me, hey, why did you do this? I did this because this. And that's just wrong. Like it's crazy to me how the most common, I haven't kept track. If I kept numbers, if I've asked 25 people what their business structure is, and I probably have, maybe I've asked more. Most commonly, I hear crazy things. I hear things that are just provably false, demonstrably false. It's, I'm an LLC because to limit my liability, because I needed one for an EIN, or because I wanted to hire employees. The third bullet point I have here. Do you need to, sole proprietor has sole right in the name, sole like solo, like one. You can have employees as a sole proprietor. I promise you. Again, do a quick Google, but I've heard people answer the question, why did you create that LLC? So that I can hire people. You can hire people as a sole proprietor. Maybe, and oftentimes maybe it is the case that you are better off hiring people as an LLC. But to say that the sole reason that you hired people, you became an LLC was to hire people. Oh, well, as I was a sole proprietor and I couldn't hire people as an sole proprietor. That's just false. Again, that's just false. The amount of times that people justify their business structure of an LLC and give me a false answer as to why they had to do it it outnumbers any other mistake that I see people making. And again, I'm not telling you to become an S Corp. I'm not telling you to stay an LLC or switch back to a sole proprietor. Consult with somebody who you tell your entire picture to. I've told my entire personal finance, my entire business finance, my entire 5-10 year goals. I've had long conversations that I paid a lot of money to have with my accountant, with my tax attorneys, with financial planners, things like that. And I specifically landed on S Corporation for a set of many different reasons. I've talked about it before. Maybe I'll remember to link a video. I can't remember if I specifically did an S Corp video before. But my biggest benefit that I get from being an S Corporation is paying myself a salary, taking the remainder of my income from a year as a distribution, I believe they call it, and that is not subject to FICA taxes, payroll taxes. So hey Dan, what is your business structure? Answer, S Corporation. Hey Dan, why did you do that? To save myself more than $10,000 a year every year in FICA taxes. Dan, that is a great answer, Dan. Did you do that on your own or did you verify it with professionals? I verified it with multiple professionals. I not only got one consultation, I had 2 independent consultations with 2 independent professionals in the tax space, in the business space, and both of them said the same thing. This is what we need to do. And part of the reason, it's like, Dan, who cares? You're going off, Dan, you're ranting about taxes, you're ranting about finances, all this crazy stuff. Who cares? What's the harm if somebody formed an LLC they didn't need? One is like the ignorance, thinking you're getting protection when you're not. I want to fix that for you. That's scary. If you formed an LLC to limit your liability, I want to help ensure you are doing that. Open up business cards in the business name in the coming weeks, months. Shed all those personal ones that are piercing your veil. Like, I'm trying to help people here. I'm trying to educate people, inform people to some extent on things that they may not know, and then help them get the benefits they think they're getting. And if you're an LLC so that you could hire staff, like, is it going to be worthwhile at this point if you've already formed one to undo your LLC? I've never undone an LLC. I don't know what the process of that is. But the main things are I want to make sure you're getting the benefit you think you are. And then here's some outright flat negatives of an LLC compared to a sole proprietor. The annual fees. Certain places you have to report and publish. Hey, I formed this LLC, this county, whatever. You got to publish in newspapers. You got to pay money. Mostly it's a money thing. Mostly it's a money thing. It's a corporate red tape, all that kind of stuff. And many people, I've actually had people say too, one bullet point I forgot to do is magically thinking that hey, I was always a sole proprietor selling 10 grand on eBay, selling 20 grand on eBay, selling 50 grand on eBay. This year I sold 100 grand. This year I sold $1 million. And there's no limit. Theoretically, there's no limit to how much you can sell as a sole proprietor. I know of people in this space and other spaces that are doing 7-figure businesses annually. 7 figures being 2 commas, $1 million, $3 million, $5 million gross sales. There are people, and I don't know their situations. I would highly question if that's optimal tax structuring, if that's optimal business structuring. I would highly presume, not assuming, presuming, because I have decent amount of information regarding it. Assuming is when you have no basis for it. I would presume that most anyone doing business in the 7-figure territory would be better off as an LLC, more specifically as an LLC that files an S election to become an S corporation. So I don't know their situation. There could be somebody doing $5 million a year in gross sales that is better off being a sole proprietor. I'm not smart enough. I'm not deep enough to know generally enough about taxes to say what those circumstances would be. But a good accountant might come up with a hypothetical example of, oh, hey, this business, they do $5 million a year, XYZ reasons. They're actually better as a sole proprietor for their situation than being an LLC or an S Corp. But it's just the amount of, the amount of power, the amount of information we have here, and people will deep dive pop reports, and people will deep dive all the latest pokey drama. People will deep dive all the different nuances of the hobby and this and that and the other thing. when they're doing business to the tune of 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures a year. And they just won't spend 5, 10, 20 minutes. This video is going to be less than 20 minutes on 2x, less than 10 minutes. People won't spend that amount of time often to ensure that they're structured right. And I'm saving myself over $10,000 a year. In 2020, I was a sole proprietor. 2021 was the year where I incorporated. I cost myself over $10,000 because I did not have an amazing accountant at the time and I didn't know it. And they did not suggest to me the proper structuring. So yeah, hopefully this video could save one person from doing an LLC incorrectly, from jumping into an LLC when they don't need one, or at least they're going to jump into it, but they're going to do it right and actually not pierce that corporate veil. If one person could do that, this was worthwhile. But yeah, that's everything. I think I have one more slide. Yeah, upcoming videos. So March 29th, this Saturday, I'm going to record it. Hopefully my voice will be entirely back. Apologies. I was worried. I did the travel thing. I'll talk about the days I was there, what was going on each day. But I went to Miami for MetaZoo release, Fort Lauderdale Collecticon. It was a blast. I'm going to talk about it. I'll do a Big Dan PowerPoint. I'll share some photos. I'll share some stories. You may have noticed the Sun Wukong MetaZoo new base set box artwork back there behind me. I'll talk about it. I'm actually recording this. I wanted to record this video before I left, but I left Thursday morning at 6 a.m. That's when my flight left. I left. Yeah, I will talk about it more then, but I didn't have time to record this video before. I woke up Sunday morning with like no voice. I couldn't speak at all. Going through the airport, I just couldn't speak. Thankfully, it came back as much as it did, and I'm doing this video now. April 7th or 14th, I'll probably do another. We did LLCs talk today. I might do one more tax topic. We'll see. Gray Felt Hat recap is coming up soon. I still have some cards out for grading. I still have not every card accounted for. The video will almost certainly be made without every single card being accounted for. But it's been wild. I actually met up with John Pokemon Radar. We talked about it some. Influencers. I'm not going to elaborate at all on what that means, why I'm making a video about influencers. But that is a video that I'm going to make. I believe that is the end. It appears to be. So yeah, that is everything. I mean, it's March 31st. I'm finishing recording right now. I'm hitting stop recording at 12:02 p.m. I have 58 minutes to upload this, make a thumbnail, make all the timestamps. Hopefully I get through it. But with T-Mobile Home Internet by my side, I should be able to. Not sponsored, but happy customer. I used to use DSL, and this would have had no shot at being up in time, but I think it will be today. As always, I appreciate everyone watching. Give me a money bag. Give me a bag of money emoji. Hopefully, this video might save people some money. They might not pay $500, $1,000 to form an LLC that wouldn't have helped them anyways. Or maybe it'll cost them a little bit of money. Maybe they'll have to go open up new accounts, open up a business bank account, maybe pay an annual fee. There's probably a lot of good business accounts out there without annual fees. Anyways, I need to end it now. I appreciate you all watching. I will catch you all later.